All right, good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. and it is my pleasure to call the May 19, 2026 meeting of the West Richland City Council to order. So before we get started, I'm going to ask Jessica, who's filling in for our city clerk, to read the hybrid meeting ground rules and then call roll for city council.
Tonight's meeting will be held with a virtual meeting component. If you are participating virtually, please make sure the name shown at the bottom of your video view is the name you'd like the mayor to use. You can change this by right-clicking on your video view and selecting Rename. Audience members present in the council chambers will be called upon first during public comment periods. Those participating remotely should virtually raise their hand if they wish to speak. To virtually raise your hand, click on Participants and then click on Raise Hand. If you are participating by phone, only press asterisk to raise your hand. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Fred Brink.
Here.
Richard Bloom. David Cole.
Here.
David Fetto.
Here.
Kate Moran. Present. Dan Ritchie.
Here.
John Smart.
Here.
Ken Stoker.
Here. All right, moving on with the agenda, I will ask Councilmember Smart to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Smart.
My pleasure.
Council, you have the agenda before you. Are there any changes to the agenda? In hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you, Council. We do not have any presentations this evening, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda consists of payment of bills, approved minutes from the regular meeting on May 5, 2026, and Resolution 2526, setting public hearing date for the 2027 through 2032 Transportation Improvement Program. Is there anyone present who would like to comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there anyone attending virtually who would like to comment on the consent agenda? If so, please raise your virtual hand. The clerk will unmute you. And I kindly ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. You may also press *9 if you're calling from a telephone. I don't see anyone. Do you, Jessica?
I do not.
All right. Seeing no one. Council, this is our first, we're up to approving the consent agenda. So it's been presented before you. All in, may I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second for the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you, Council. All right, this is our first opportunity for public comment for items not on the agenda. If you wish to provide comments, I ask that you please come to the podium, state your name and city of residence, and kindly limit your comments to 3 minutes. I'll just remind everyone present tonight that council will not respond to questions during this comment period, and that the time frame is just for comments regarding things not on tonight's agenda, as we'll have time for specific agenda items as they're discussed. So with that, I invite anyone that wishes to make public comment, please step forward. And kindly introduce yourself and your address, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Harry Powell Mays Jr. I reside at 8413 Ballard Loop. All right. Can I start? Okay. What I would like to say is that last week that the council presented a workshop. The workshop I thought that y'all had was very informative. And I really appreciated the lively banter that went back and forth between the members of council. I wanted to say that I also agreed with what most of council said regarding we already had laws that were in place and that we need to properly enforce those laws concerning fireworks. With that being said, as for me, I consider the vote next week. I mean, the week after next when we come, that will probably be a dead horse, right? We're going to vote. We're going to decide. But I want to let you know as council, I thought that y'all did a very good job of explaining what we already had on record. Now, with that being said, there were some members of council, and I will not call names, but I kind of felt that their opinion at that time should not have been voiced. I felt that as the persons that were in charge, they should have took the responses that were had and just let it go. And then later, when council gets together to vote, then they go ahead and vote. Once again, I want to say this too. I do understand that there are people who have important needs and they are concerned about the fire hazards or whatever that comes with the fireworks. I want to state on public record that I took the liberty to look up where the people stay that seem to have the most concerns. And I did see that the areas that they stay seem to be very, very prone to fire hazards. I also took the liberty to really ask the questions of what is really going on over there. And it seems that the main problem is that people purchase the fireworks and they go over to those areas where those people are and they detonate the fireworks because it's a really basically clean area where they can actually see the fireworks go off and things like that. So that goes back into what the council said last week in enforcing the laws that we have. We already know where the problem area is at. So I would say maybe we just try to station people there. Now, also with that being said, I just like to let you know, this is my last comment about fireworks. I'm done with fireworks. I'm moving on to the very important stuff that's near and dear to me and that will affect my children and my grandchildren, and that is the data centers. That is what Harry is on, so y'all don't have to worry about me stepping up here no more about fireworks, okay? And I will also say that, don't worry, I get the next one. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you. I'm Jerry Boggs, 1802 Maplewood here in the city. I just want to say that as a citizen and resident of West Richland, I'm pretty displeased that at least two of our current council seem to prioritize their goals over that of the majority of respondents to the recent survey put out by the city with fireworks management as an issue. We want to applaud the mayor for the proposal that he's put forth, and we support that. And I do want to say regarding fireworks, no matter how this council votes, that's not going to be the end of this issue. If it's defeated, if the mayor's proposal is defeated, fireworks issue is still going to continue because aerial fireworks are still a major issue for many of us. And there are hundreds and hundreds of us, thousands of us who want better management and want to be freed from that particular piece of aerial fireworking. So that's a big issue. I've been dealing with that, and I appreciate your time on that. The other issue is still that of data centers. Data centers are coming. Trammell Crow is negotiating with Frank Teague's LLC, and I think when they offer enough money, that land will be sold, and you'll be seeing an application for a data center. My hope is, given that the state has pulled away a lot of its tax incentive for data centers by stopping the tax write-off for replacing various gear and equipment. I hope that the city will not try to step into that void and make offers to bring the data center in through somehow reducing the taxes they might have to pay to you all, to our city. And really, that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
My name is Dan Youngs. I live at 811 Snow Avenue, Richland, Washington. I also own a fireworks stand here in West Richland. One of the first things I want to address is trying to limit the number of permits issued. I don't know if the council knows, but anybody that has a wholesale fire license, buys a wholesale fireworks license, gets first shot at the permits. They can put in for as many permits as they want because they hand those out to their nonprofits or to the people buying the fireworks from them. So they've got the first shot at it. So on a first come, first served basis, regular people with small stands aren't going to be able to compete with the likes of TNT. The corporations are just going to take, they're going to have their permits back first. You have to have the state permit before you can put in for the city permit. So they're going to have the jump on that, and we're not even going to have a chance. I've been out here since 1996 that I opened. It was the first fireworks stand I ever did, that I ever owned. Was right at Mel's grocery store. And I've been here on and off ever since. I was out of it for about 4 years when I broke my neck in a car accident. And then as soon as I was well enough, I came back out. A couple of more things that, really, if we're talking about limiting fireworks stands, so when are we going to talk about limiting grocery stores, gas stations? It's a free enterprise system, and we should all be able to participate in it. The next thing is the start and ending dates. I know if the thought's going to be that if we have shorter sell dates, we're going to have less fireworks, but that's not going to happen. What it's going to do is going to create more traffic in those 2.5 days. We've got 6.5 days to sell now, and we're busy all the time. If you try to pack that into 2.5 days, every parking lot that we're in is going to be full all the time. There's going to be traffic congestion. And it might drive people away from, buying legal fireworks. They can go up the top in a Shermapton and buy whatever they want up there. And they're not tested or anything. We pay a testing fee. I actually import fireworks from China. And we pay a fee for them to test every one of our fireworks and make sure that it meets the standards that, the U.S. has set. That doesn't happen in Toppenish. A lot of guys up there are making their own stuff and selling it. It's dangerous. And we're pushing them up there if we're so crowded here that they've got to stand in line for an hour to buy fireworks. And not only that, we miss the tax revenue. And that tax revenue is probably needed for other things here in the city. The third thing about it is that I think is cramming everybody into one day to shoot. Right now, you have quite a few people shooting on the 3rd. The biggest is the 4th, of course, but it takes away our service industry workers. Most of our service industry workers, I was in the grocery business and retail business for years. They're offered, okay.
Mr. Young, I'm sorry, you've reached 3 minutes. You will
Okay.
have another opportunity later on this.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nathan Jarvis. I live on 6489 Mineral Street. I just want to come up and talk about the firework issue. My daughter's actually the one that told me about the city council meeting tonight because she saw a post on Facebook that they were going to discuss the fireworks. And she was like, they're not getting rid of fireworks, are they? And I said, I actually don't know because I hadn't been paying attention until just now. So I just want to come in and say that that's one thing in the summer that my kids very much look forward to every year. They like to go down, they like to go visit fireworks stands, they like to participate in that celebration. We always do it very safely at our house. We live in a residential area. We always have all of our precautions, water. We teach the kids how to do it safely so we don't have injuries. But it's a big part of like their growing up. That's what they've always done. We've lived in West Richland for 11 years now, and that's what they do on 4th of July and the couple days preceding it. It's a big thing for them to go down to the fireworks stand and go visit and talking and make deals. You see me all the time down there, guys. But it's just a big part for them, and they love doing it, and they like the celebrating, and they like being part of it. And it turns into a whole community thing for us. Our whole street participates, and we all work together, and we make things safe. So that's like the whole part of it for us is just making sure that is still part of our celebration that we can. And it's 4th of July. It's like the birthday of the country. Like you got to celebrate that. That's why I wore the short tonight, because it's like that's what it's about. So hopefully when you guys are going through your process, we keep the fireworks as is. I don't mind the aerials, everything, as long as you're doing them safely. And for those outliers, the people that cause the problems, those are the ones that you got to try and, track down and penalize for that. Like I'm fine with that, but it's just the ones that follow the rules and use the ones that are available to be sold in West Richland, then I don't see a problem with that. So thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Hi. Good evening, Mayor Brink and Council.
Sorry, please introduce yourself. please.
Deborah Humphreys, 4705 Collins Road. I'm sure you guys have that memorized by now. But anyways, good evening, Mayor Brink and city council members. And I wanted to speak on the survey because there's some huge misconceptions about how to read it, and that should be cleared up. And I changed my whole format today because I thought this was more important. First of all, the top 2026 concern was fireworks. And then that's came right off the survey right there. And on the fireworks concern page, when you add up all the fireworks concerns, the percentage comes out to 65% believes it's a problem and 23% believes it's not a problem. And then that's that page. And the fireworks regulations supporting changes, 193% support changes and 26% doesn't think it's a problem. And I don't get where they got the 193 because I don't get that. But anyways, that's what was on the survey. And there were 4 comments sections in the survey. And one of the survey comments was, what do you appreciate most about the city? And there was 1,870 comments. I read every one of them. 80 comments was in favor of fireworks. And there was 265 comments wanting more restrictions on fireworks. So that's a huge difference. That's like 3 times the amount that was in favor. So that's huge. And the last part is there was 630 comments on if there was any more to say and if fireworks considerations page. There was 630 comments, 65 comments were in favor of fireworks, 145 comments were not in favor of fireworks. And that's that page right there. So residents went to the trouble to fill out the survey. They showed up, they spoke, they voiced their concerns, they sent emails, and they put in the work. Please hear them out. The majority of the residents.
Please, I'm sorry, you've reached your 3 minutes, but you'll have another opportunity to continue if you wish. Yeah.
Hello, how are you? I'm Bob Humphreys. I live at the bottom of Collins Hill and I have for 35 years. I bring a little different perspective, having twice been very nearly burned out of my home. I sent photographs in a letter to all of you folks. I don't know if anybody saw it because nobody responded, but it's an issue. The BLM ground that goes from my place clear up to John Smart's place, it wouldn't take much to set that on fire. And I'm not completely sure that the city can manage the problem because it's a huge problem. And I don't think the police department is going to ride around and ticket kids with sparklers. So I don't know what you do with the issue. The 3rd and the 2nd and 3rd of July, they aren't holidays. We don't need to celebrate them. Thanks much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present that wishes to speak tonight?
Hi, my name is Michaela Leonona and I live at 3003 Hermant Court. First, I want to say thank you to those of you that were on city council when we brought in a whole bunch of kids and you changed the rules to allow them to fish at the lakes again. So I've been taking my chair and a bunch of kids and they fish and they're learning all kinds of things and they're outdoors playing. So thank you for that. The reason that I'm here is to speak on the change in zoning to allow data centers. West Richland and the Columbia Basin currently lacks the framework for evaluating the cumulative impacts of multiple large-scale data centers on energy demands, water systems, emissions, industrial land use, air quality, noise pollution, grid stain, grid strain and climate goals. Public utilities should not be prioritizing hyperscale data centers like the one that is 912 megawatts that they're looking at putting out on the Lewis and Clark Ranch. To put that into perspective, that's between 120,000 and 700,000 homes. Right now, our grid is already under strain. Blackouts and rolling brownouts would most likely occur in our community. We also need to look at how this affects our watersheds. We've seen down in Boardman, down in Morrow County, investigations and litigations linked industrial wastewater systems associated with Amazon data centers to severe nitrate contamination in groundwater, serving approximately 45,000 citizens. 97% of the wells down there are now contaminated with nitrates at extremely high levels, 7 to 10 times the limit of federal regulatory levels. This contamination is associated with elevated risks of infant health impacts like baby blue syndrome, thyroid disease, and cancer. In March of 2026, Amazon agreed to settle for over $20 million. West Richland nitrates are already between 4 and 5 parts per million. The limit federally is 10. When blowdown occurs within a data center, it increases typically by tenfold. That puts us over the safe limits. Municipalities currently do not have the ability to filter out that quantity of nitrates, of biocides, and of anti-corrosives that are in those closed loop systems that are not truly closed loop. That sludge is dumped onto either farmland or it is dumped into our rivers, where Richland pulls most of their water from, and we import water from Richland. There are many issues with data centers, and I think it's extremely important that we slow roll this. I understand there's not an application. I don't want an application in my community. I don't want this as an option. It brings water pollution, land pollution, light pollution for over 5 miles away. The beautiful Aurora Borealis we got to see, we wouldn't be seeing it again.
We've reached.
you.
All right, thank you.
Hi there. Good evening. I'm Tony Carr, 3842 Curtis. Actually, on July 5th, I was woken up by my wife who said our backyard was on fire. But I'm not here to talk about fireworks. Today, I wanted to follow up on what Michaela said about data centers. I actually started a petition on change.org. We've got 395 signatures to date, and I'll email those to everyone here. I can hand deliver signatures to and provide zip codes. The petition asked City Council to reverse their decision last year to zone data centers as light industrial. And I think we've learned a lot in the last year about these sort of emerging impacts with data centers and those impacts on local communities. Just look at Boardman, where Amazon just settled out of this class action lawsuit that still involves the port. The port is still a defendant in that lawsuit, might be liable for that nitrate contamination of drinking water. So for me, I feel like we just can't rubber stamp, these data center approvals by right. We have to come up with a process, a special process that's more protective of our community. I think it's got to involve public comment. It's got to involve disclosure of all available information to the public. It's got to have some community benefit agreements in there as well to make sure that our citizens are protected, our water, our energy, our power bills are protected, our air is protected for the future. So I really hope that you'll work to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Please come up.
Hi, my name is Anna Kessie. I live on Bing Street. And I just want to come up here and say thank you for taking the chance or the opportunity to listen to us today. And I've spoken before about health impacts and also the air quality. I spoke at the Planning Commission meeting. And today I just want to make it clear that we want to stop the data center before they even have a chance to submit an application to the city. We're asking you to do what you can to stop this before they're able to. The first thing that comes to mind is to change the zoning. I want you to think of the long term and not short term money that may be promised. We need to protect our resources, the water and the land, the air, the quality of life due to noise, light and electrical bills, and the health impacts. Once our resources are gone, they will be hard to restore, and that is worth way more than money, and we won't be able to be self-sustainable. So I just really ask you to think about the long term, not right now, what we like the goals we have right now and the money we need, but the long term for not just our city, but for the future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present here tonight that would like to make public comment?
Hello, thank you. My name is Heather Sheldon. I live on 2555 Bellacoola Lane. I just kind of wanted to reiterate what Anna, Michaela, and Tony have gone over very eloquently, I might add. I believe this area that we live in is a very unique and beautiful area. And if we continue with a data center, we are going to destroy an ecosystem that is not going to come back. We're destroying the futures for our children and the next generations after that. There's no going back from a data center. So I truly, genuinely hope that you guys reconsider the zoning approval that was approved. I genuinely hope that you consider that most of your citizens do not agree with having a data center in our beautiful area. That is genuinely one of the best areas to live in my opinion. But so I urge you guys to reconsider that and consider that 7 out of 10 Americans do not approve of data centers whatsoever, polluting their land and air and everything. So thank you.
Thank you, Sheldon. Is there anyone else present that would like to make public comment who hasn't spoken yet? All right, seeing no one did you? Yep, please.
My name is Kelly Smart. I live at 400 South 54th Avenue. So good evening. Wasn't really going to speak tonight because I wasn't prepared, but a lot of people made good points on the fireworks issue, and I thought I might just share my own 2 cents. So the people made a lot of good points regarding fireworks, such as how it limits the limiting sales would hurt local fireworks stands and businesses, and that's not a good thing. And how like it also could obviously restrict fireworks, which could also impact children's memories. Like I grew up here watching fireworks every 4th of July, my favorite holiday for a long time. And I remember whenever a firework went off, I would like go run outside and look at the view and try to catch it before it went away. But I'm definitely against limiting or restricting fireworks sales at new cities in West Richland. I believe as a citizen of a free country, we're allowed to celebrate our nation's freedom safely and legally, and John Adams endorses that. I don't believe that any restrictions will prevent anyone from unsafely or illegally using the fireworks, because if it's illegal, they're obviously not doing it legally in the first place. I don't believe that I believe that fireworks are an American tradition that should not be banned, but should be free to be used to celebrate our independence. And as we know, the whole city is full of fireworks every 4th of July and surrounding days. And I think that is better survey on fireworks than anyone can find online. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Hi, I'm Lori Morrison. I live on 364 Northview Loop. Anyway, I wasn't going to speak at all, and I wasn't going to speak about the fireworks. And I've always been a fireworks lover, but I think the 3 times that we've had to come home to our house because our neighbors were helping put fire out it, I'm kind of going, we may not be as safe as what everybody's talking about. So I would propose that we would have a fireworks out at the racetrack or something, because you can't take it away from people without giving them something. Other than that, I'm definitely against AI. These guys did a great thing. I didn't know about it. And I think a lot of the people in West Richland are not aware that all this is going on. And so, you know what they say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last call for in-house until the second round. All right. I will turn to citizens participating online. If there's anyone attending virtually who'd like to provide a comment, you may do so by raising your virtual hand. Our city clerk will unmute you and you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. Once again, I kindly ask that you begin with your name and address for the record and kindly limit your talk to 3 minutes. You may also press *9 if you're calling by telephone. So once again, is there anyone attending virtually who would like to make comment? I see no one. Jessica, do you?
I do not.
All right. Seeing no one, we'll close this public comment period and turn to ordinances, resolutions, motions, and public hearings. We're going to have a public hearing on the city's comprehensive sewer plan dated February 2026. Items 8A and 8B are public hearing and ordinance to approve the city's comprehensive general sewer plan, and Public Works Director Slade will present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor Brink. The chief told me that all these people weren't here to listen to my general sewer plan, so I'm kind of disappointed. And not to go over the 1,600-page document in detail, but I'll skim over it. So our Washington State Administrative Code requires the city to maintain a general sewer plan that has been reviewed and approved by the Washington State Department of Ecology. The general sewer plan includes description of existing sewer treatment, conveyance systems, capacity, compliance analysis, anticipated needs for future facilities, and a description of future facilities, including schedule, cost, and financing. West Richland's general sewer plan dated February 2026 has been available on the city's website for the public to review since February 2nd of 2026. So it's been out there quite a while. An environmental checklist was submitted on the comprehensive general sewer plan, and a declaration of non-significance was issued on February 5th, 2026. This general sewer plan has been a 4-year process, so multi-year. It started with the planning effort with the Lewis and Clark Ranch, and that's what caused that plan to be paused for 2 years, to go back and look at our existing service area and make sure that we had capacity and treatment for our existing citizens before we added more service area. And that's what we did with this, to make sure everything was in place. Numerous meetings with our utility subcommittee, which is made up currently of Councilmember Smart, Stoker, and Ritchie. They went through the final review, but over the years, they weren't necessarily the ones that started with this plan, but it's been through that committee numerous times. And last was back on March 17th to give it one final look before it came forward with council. Council on May 5th passed a resolution setting a public hearing tonight to take public comment before we consider adoption by ordinance, and including this by reference in our municipal code. The Washington State Department of Ecology has reviewed our general sewer plan, and on February, and has approved the plan pending council's approval. That letter was received at the end of April. It was originally reviewed by them back in 2025 and received comments. We went and addressed them, and then this was their review saying we have addressed all their concerns or comments. Again, the general sewer plan is a comprehensive document. In your packet was just the executive summary. Again, the whole thing is online, all 1,600 pages. But what I included in your packet is kind of the executive summary. Chapter 1 is the introduction to the sewer system. 2 deals with planning and information. Chapter 3 is flow and load analysis. This deals with both our conveyance system, lift stations, and the treatment plant. Chapter 4 is performance and design criteria for new development as it comes in. Chapter 5 deals with wastewater treatment plan. 6 is collection system. 7 is capital improvement plan that looks at what things do we need to not only build for planned growth, but it also deals with the repair and replacement of items that have outlived their useful life and how to plan for those in advance. Chapter 8 is the financial plan. That's where the dollars and cents come in. That plan was put together by our finance department, and council has previously already adopted the rates associated with that. So that was done previously to match what's in here in the plan. Chapter 9 deals with the collection system and an operation program, and 10 deals with pre-treatment for those industries or businesses that may be discharging higher strength than normal residential strength wastewater to us. So we have regulations that account for that. And then there's numerous appendices in this thing so that all the documents, everything is in one place. It is a living document, so while we're looking at adopting it tonight, it's not set in stone and subject to change. Typically, we look at this with updates to the comprehensive plan, which every 6 years, 10 years. We'll probably look at this again before 10 years, but it's it's pretty extensive planning, and it incorporates all the data and stuff that came out of the Lewis and Clark planning effort. So it's complete. Staff and the utility committee are recommending council pass ordinance tonight adopting the comprehensive general sewer plan, which also adds chapter 1301 to the West Richland Municipal Code.
All right, thank you, Director Slade. And so I will now open the public hearing on this matter at 6:36 p.m. We'll hear in-person comments and then virtual attendee comments. If you're in the audience and wish to comment on this particular item, then please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing no one here in person, I'll turn to our virtual attendees. Does anyone attending virtually would like to provide a comment? Once again, please raise your virtual hand. The city clerk will unmute you and you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. Once again, I ask that you state your name and city for the record. And once again, it is for comments on the comprehensive general sewer plan. I see no one online. Jessica, do you?
I do not.
All right. Seeing no public comment, I'll close the public hearing at 6:37. And at this point, council, do I have a motion?
I move to adopt ordinance 09-26, adopting city's comprehensive general sewer plan dated February 2026 and adding chapter 13.01 to the West Richland Municipal Code.
Second. I have motion and a second. Council, are there any questions or that you might have for staff that have not been previously addressed? Councilmember Moran.
Thank you. At first, I was going to ask just for the audience, and then I realized that I also am not certain of the answer either. So, Director Slade, I'm wondering for Chapter 10 for the pretreatment, are you specifically just talking about the eye plant, or are you talking about more than just that?
Yeah, it deals with anybody discharging to our collection system. The eye plant is a facility that can treat industrial or commercial strength waste, but even then it still has limits. But this is for anybody discharging to the city. A lot of it is federal regulations that we put in here dealing with pH, BOD, TSS, the loadings, just to make sure that somebody isn't discharging something into our system that would upset our treatment plant and have a discharge violation into the Yakima River. That's what those protections are there for.
Okay. Is it something where it looks at everything that everybody's putting into the system and then deciding if something goes beyond, or is it separating out in advance, knowing that certain industries will produce more grease, oils, and whatnot?
Yeah, grease and oil is a different regulation. Not supposed to put those down the drain, but this is industrial strength, I'd say, that comes in, and you're looking user specific. Example, when we have a winery come in, they actually have to do a study, and ecology outlines all those requirements that looks at what they're going to discharge, the quantity, are there peaking factors? All those are submitted to us before we can approve them to come into the system. Again, it's to make sure that whatever a user is discharging to us, it's not going to upset the system.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Council, seeing no other cards up, we have a motion on the table for adopting the city's comprehensive general sewer plan dated February 2026 and adding chapter 13.01 to the municipal code. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you, council. So we will now move to the second public comment period, as we have no unfinished business and no new business tonight. Once again, if you wish to speak, I would ask you come to the podium. Kindly state your name and address for the record even if you are a repeat speaker, and kindly limit your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone here who cares to come to the podium?
Deborah Humphreys, 4705 Collins Road. I just wanted to finish up what I didn't get to finish up. The majority of our residents really wants restrictions or a ban. And the numbers are there right in front of us, right here. And please vote for what the residents are wanting and not so much for yourself. And a couple of things that I thought was noteworthy when I read all of this, and actually it was a good read. And I just wanted to point out one of the good things that West Richland resident had spoke up on was the nice sunsets. And number 2 that caught my eye was a great garbage service. So I just thought I'd share that with everybody.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would care to make public comment?
I'll beat the drum just a little bit longer. I'm Bob Humphreys. I still live at the bottom of Collins Hill, and I have for a long time. And I was sitting there thinking back over the years, and there's quite a number of them. This same debate happened down at the city council meeting when it was still in the library. I attended a fireworks display at a friend's house that was near the bottom of Collins Hill a long time ago. The wind was raging. The fire department sent a representative to the party to ask us to tone it down, and they pretty much received the middle finger. Later that evening, we had to beat a hasty retreat from the party to protect our home at the bottom of Collins Hill because it was burning. The smoke was so thick you couldn't see from here to the gas station. I remember seeing, I don't know who owned the equipment. I remember seeing 2 loads of small bulldozers go up Collins Hill to try and keep the fire from burning across Collins Road into the houses. I don't know who owns that equipment yet. I do know that I have read that the mutual aid is waning. I don't think it's as strong as it was. I think Richland and Pasco and other people with large fire departments are taking care of their own business. So I don't know if a raging wind and a huge party and an out of control fire gets started here. I don't know if anybody's coming to help. Thanks much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to finish up on my couple of thoughts I have here. One of them is the service workers. Like I started to say, I was in the retail business all of my life. I'm retired now, but the way it normally works in the service business is they'll give you the third or the fourth off. You don't get both days. And not everybody can, of course, have the fourth off. And that's why I think it's important to at least have a third and a fourth available for people to celebrate with their families and shoot. Another thing, if you're going to adopt a certain number of permits that you're going to give out, I think everybody that's been out here doing business for years should be grandfathered into this thing. There should be no reason we should have to fight for permits. We've been here for, I've been here for 30 years. And then I have to hope I get lucky from the fire department and get my permit on time and get it in to get one of the permits. It just opens up too much pressure on city council members too. There's always the abuse that can happen when you only have a limited number of things to hand out. So I don't think that's a good idea to limit these permits at all. That's about all I have to say right now.
Thank you. Anyone else present that wishes to make comment?
All right. My name is Wade Youngs. I live in Richland, but I have a business at 4546 West Van Giesen. I want to mimic what the last speaker said. I'm not going to dwell on it, but I want to point out that in 2027, July 4th is on a Sunday. I've been in this industry for a long time. I am pro fireworks. I am in the industry and I have been my whole life. When the 4th of July falls on a Sunday, typically people celebrate the Saturday and it's much more calm on Sunday. Limiting just to the 4th of July for like a date to set fireworks off really kind of limits the flexibility of that being allowed. The permit thing, yeah, that's a slippery slope. If we start saying, only 10 permits and that's all there is, that's okay, I guess, if you guys consider the entire package of we have to wait from the state to get our permits, and there's a user group that gets theirs before us, that just really opens up the door for fraud. So I just want to make sure that everybody on the council is aware of how the process works. I've offered before, I'll offer again. If you want an industry professional to come in and discuss, I'm more than happy to do that. I did not know about the last council workshop. I wish I would have been able to attend. I would have been able to attend. I just didn't know. But I'll be here for the vote, and hopefully we can work through this together as a community. I think it's important to remember we're here fighting, excuse me, we're here fighting about fireworks and data centers. We're doing pretty good. I mean, let's be honest. We're doing pretty good. We could have it so much worse, and these arguments could be about such more travesties. So let's just keep that in mind, that as a community, we can come together. We don't have to fight each other constantly and have the ugly name calling and stuff that I see going on, not from you guys, but from online. So thanks.
My name's Sarah Latard. I live near Spirea and Enterprise Park. And I was going to actually just read a few quotes because I thought they were sort of interesting. This is a tough position you guys are in. Well, I guess to start, I'll just say one thing regarding the proposal you're actually considering, which is that I think limiting the number of days that fireworks are sold is going to be the most important part or the most useful thing, because people are going to start setting off stuff the day they buy it. That's just human nature. And if we want to have less fireworks, I'm sorry, some people will have to wait in line, but we need to have some more peace and less days of just craziness. So here are some quotes. First of all, from the West Richland City Council mission statement, which I'm assuming is, I don't know what your oath of office is, but to maintain a safe, healthy, and welcoming city. Another quote is John Adams, "There is danger from all men. The only maximum of free government ought to be to trust no man living with power to endanger the public liberty." So, I know people are going to read this different ways, but these are important questions that you guys need to think about. James Madison, "If men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would," sorry, my tablet. There we go. Okay. "Neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. In framing a government which is to be administered by men over men, the great difficulty lies in this. You must first enable the government to control the government, and the next place oblige it to control itself, or the government to control the governed, and the next place to oblige it to control itself." Abraham Lincoln, "The legitimate object of government is to do for a community of people what they need to have done, but cannot do at all or cannot so well do for themselves in their separate and individual capacities." Last one, Ronald Reagan, "Americans should have the right and opportunity to walk our streets without being afraid, to feel safe in our own homes, and to be confident when our children leave the house that they will return safely." That's it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tim Rodriguez. We have a fireworks stand there at 4906 here in Van Giesen. I just want to piggyback off of the fireworks. We do our fireworks. It's outreach for our community. It's to help the community, help those that are in need in the community. We've been selling fireworks for the last 15 years. It's been a big help, not just to us, but to the community as well. I know there's other fireworks stands try to come in and do the things, but if we keep it in-house, like they were saying, we keep it the permits within us, I think it'd be a better opportunity for us to continue just to grow within our own community.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Yeah. Sure.
First of all, again, my name is Harry Mays. I stay at 8413 Ballard Loop. I want to tell you and all you in the audience, I apologize for saying I was not going to say nothing about fireworks. I really thought I was done, but I got sidetracked, so I really apologize for that. All right, quotes. Now, I have a quote here that I was going to read that I think is very near and dear to me as a citizen of this great United States of America. And it says, "You have to love a nation that celebrates its independence every July 4th, not with a parade of guns, tanks, and soldiers who file by the White House in a show of strength and muscle, but with family picnics where kids throw frisbees, the potato salad gets iffy, and the flies die from happiness." That is from Ronald Reagan. One person that I was very little when he came into office, but I, heard a lot about the guy, me being from Georgia, which is the South. So anyway, that man right there, the one thing he did believe in was life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay. And one of those things is fireworks. I don't care that people, this is Harry speaking right now. I don't care about certain things other than my rights. My rights are, I understand this, cannot infringe upon anyone else's rights. But I do believe, I feel strongly about this. July 4th is one of the most sacred holidays that we have in this country. And I feel that we should have the right to fire whatever we want to fire and celebrate, because we was under a tyrannical thing with the British and we broke away. There have been thousands of people that died so we could have those freedoms. So just for somebody or a group to be a little upset because at that time of year things may happen, no, that's selfish. We as a country, we deserve to be able to fire our fireworks. And I'm sorry, didn't mean to get emotional. And I also like to piggyback off what Buddy said. If all we got to argue about is fireworks and data centers, we got it pretty good. But hey, y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present tonight that would like to speak?
Again, Kelly Smart, West Richland. I want to back off on the quote saying, I wanted to read John Adams' quote, says, regarding 4th of July specifically, it ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations, aka fireworks, from one end of this continent to the other from this time forward forevermore. So it should not be stopped. I'm against it. And also data centers, no data centers, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else present? All right, I will turn to virtual attendees. If there's anyone present attending virtually, please raise your virtual hand. City Clerk will unmute you. I kindly ask that you state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your comments to 3 minutes. So we have one attendee with a fatigue keels. Kindly unmute. And kindly state your name and address for the record, please.
I just asked to unmute, so she needs to, or they need to press OK on their end.
All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Jennifer Hamlin. I live at 4215 Queen. I want to thank everyone on the council for all the work they did on the firework workshop. I thought the proposed changes for the most part were good, making Independence Day the day of celebration, not the 2 days leading up to it. As we heard from Chief Benton County 4 Fire Chief Carlisle. His staff, including volunteers, are fatigued from the calls from July 2nd and 3rd before the actual holiday even gets here. So they are showing up at work tired, fatigued, as he called it, and fatigued people.
Just a moment, Ms. Hamlin. Your audio has cut down, faded. Yeah.
Okay, try that now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
As he stated, he stated that his volunteers and staff are fatigued by the actual holiday's arrival. Fatigued people make mistakes. And that's just a fact. And lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't bring a quote of my own for you guys. But I'll quote somebody more local. Last year, July 15th, 2025, when the citizen, now Councilman Ritchie, stated in regards to fireworks, we live in a flippin' desert. It's not a good combination. And that was in respect to fireworks. And with that, I'll yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else attending virtually who would like to make a comment? I don't see anyone further. Do you?
Not.
All right, seeing no one. Thank you all for your public comments. We'll now turn to staff and council reports. Is there any staff member that would like to make comment or report, or comments and report? Mr. Mendenhall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council and of the public. Just wanted to make an announcement that on May 28th, we're going to have an open house here we just finished up a comprehensive plan update, and we're kicking off the periodic update to the comprehensive plan. So all of the cities and counties here in Franklin County and Benton County are doing these periodic updates. So we get to be included in that. And most of what we're doing is addressing what the state's laws have been as they've been passed on housing and other climate change and whatnot. There's some new requirements that we have to address in our comprehensive plan. So we're going to be going through those. We'll have an open house here starting about 5:30 and running until really people stop showing up. I'm guessing around 7. That's what I've experienced in the past is around 7 o'clock. People want to be home with their kiddos or just home in general. So as I do typically by 7, but anyway, so if you want to come, please come and have some chats with us. Be happy to talk with you. There'll be staff here. It's going to be fairly informal. So we'll have some boards up talking to each of the different elements. Again, climate, housing, capital facilities, things like that we can have some conversations about. So anyway, just wanted to make that announcement, let everybody know that what's going on.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mendenhall. No more staff comments. If you want to be done by 7, that gives staff or gives council about 2 minutes, but I don't think you'll be lucky. All right, I will start with Councilmember Ritchie. Go ahead, please.
We live in a desert. I did say that. No two ways about that. So just a couple things I wanted to say is thanks to the citizens that have come and given us their input. All right. They're providing us with information, and information is what you need to make decisions. So whether we agree or don't agree, we have more information, and that's a good thing. I also want to thank Jerry for some of the meetings he's been having where he brings citizens together along with council members, and they sit and they talk down at Indulgences and have a real good discussion about data centers and fireworks. So thank you for that, Jerry. I also wanted to mention that I attended a Hanford Communities Town Hall recently, and we had several of the people, the managers out at Hanford, came in and spoke to us, and that was just a wealth of information. I have that information with me, or I'd be happy to email it to anybody that's interested in that. Tells you a lot about the projects that are going on out there, and just very enlightening. Also want to mention that there's an excellent write-up on data centers in the Epic Times. I encourage you to look at that. I encourage you to read that because it tells you a little bit more outside of any speculation that there might be. So you can get down to some of the facts associated with that. And you can rest assured that this, as the mayor has gone on record, that this council will keep all of our discussions and all of our decisions public. So there's nothing that you don't see. So I think you can rest confident in that. And I gotta say congratulations and thank you to Roscoe and his staff for that sewer plan. I was the new kid on the block. I came in late. I got to pick up the full 1,600 pages, okay, and try to read it and about choke. But that was a Herculean effort. And so, Roscoe, thank you to you and your staff. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Ritchie. I'll turn to Councilmember Stoker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to state that I appreciate all the comments that were made tonight. I too had a list of quotes. Wasn't sure if I was going to use them, so I think I'll refrain from now. But I also went through all the comments, and I think I'm going to come up with different numbers than the other citizen has. But I mean, I also put together an interesting one because they weren't fireworks related. I myself did get called out on one comment along with 3 other council members. I won't name them. So thank you for the comment. I'll take it with a grain of salt because we were called clueless. There are quite a number of comments that, you know, if I wasn't, if I took it personal, it would be quite upsetting. I just, you know, it's amazing to me how the distance of online input changes our behavior with each other. We can get quite heated, quite embattled, because we don't see the person on the other side. You know, there are lots of comments about, you know, one particular viewpoint dominating and that, you know, we need to cut it out. I struggle with that because unfortunately that's a part of my life. That's the way I am. That's the way I'm going to be. Personally, while we are a Democrat, we are voted on by democratic processes. We are a constitutional republic, and I am here to represent. I expect that people voted for me because they have a tendency to trust my interpretation or my positions on right and wrong, what's good, what's not. Not always to be swayed by what's popular. And with that, there is one quote then that I do want to share. It says, unlike the political opportunist, the true statesman values principle above popularity and works to create popularity for those political principles which are wise and just. And that is what I have tried to do as an elected official. We may not always agree, but I hope you would at least accept that I'm trying to do things in the best interpretation that I can when it comes to what I vote for. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Stoker. Turn to Councilmember Fetto.
Thank you, sir. Michaela, I'm glad to hear that the kids are enjoying the lakes. I have yet to hear any complaints from the lakes residents, not that they may have not come in, but I'm glad to see that because it was late in the year last year when we changed that. So I'm glad to see that that's working out. I'd much rather see the kids at the lakes fishing than on their scooters, running through the streets or whatever. I see a lot of kids. I don't know how they can do it on their phones, on their scooter at the same time. I can't look down and walk at the same time. I just want to thanks for the rest of the comments. I did take a lot of notes tonight. Friday, June 12th, the West Richland Police Department, what was National Night Out, we'll rename it to Community Night Out, will take place at Bomberine Sports Complex. If you were there last year, it was August 2nd or the 4th. It was 108. It was miserable, so we decided to move that forward into the month of June. where traditionally the weather's a little better. Last year was 90 degrees, but we're hoping for a nice warm spring evening. I'll start at 5 o'clock. Food trucks, vendors, face painting. One major change this year we're bringing in is we're going to bring a band in, Colorblind. If you've been in the Tri-Cities for any period of time, you've heard of them. And we're going to bring in a beer garden. The police will be there. So we do encourage you not to drink and drive. And if you do drink, have someone to drive. Again, this is a police event. So, I mean, it's where they will be. So if you're there drinking, trying to get in a car, just know that they're there. Not only our police, but the Washington State Patrol will be there with their drunk goggles. I believe they're coming. And anyway, Friday, June 12th, Bomber Sports Complex at 5 p.m. until dusk. The band will start at 5 and probably end around 8:30 or something like that. But again, we are moving to June, so it's a big shift, but it was brutal last year and we don't want to do that again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Fato. I will turn to Councilmember Moran.
Thank you very much. First, I would like to say again, thank you to everyone that has come out. It is really great to see so many people coming out and talking to us. It gets very lonely when it's empty in here, so appreciate it very much that everybody's coming out. We are listening to everyone. We are reading your emails, and I appreciate all of them. I may not respond to all of them, but I try and do that as much as I can. I will say regarding meetings that I've gone to recently, there was Ben Franklin Transportation Board of Directors meeting that I went to on the 14th. That went really well. Not a whole lot of big things going on, but we did actually extend a, oh my gosh, I can't remember the word. So the person that was the interim CEO, we've extended the offer, that's it, for them to become the permanent CEO for as long as their contract is, for I believe 2 years. So he did accept that, Brian Lebowski. And that was the big thing from that meeting. And then the day after was Ben Franklin Council of Governments meeting, which went really well. I will say that I appreciate Mr. Mendenhall coming out and speaking to the COG because afterwards I got a lot of kudos for West Richland for the Lewis and Clark Ranch planning and how all that is going. Some people in particular said that they were really concerned when they had first heard that so much land was going to be involved, but they were really surprised and want to look into it further and actually talk to you a little bit more about how you did it. So again, kudos to you, your staff, and I know it wasn't just you were the one that talked, but to all of the city staff that worked on that. Fantastic job. We're getting a lot of good thumbs up from folks. Other than that, for BF COG, there are some new staff at BF COG. We have a new regional planner and a transportation planning intern that's going to be starting on July 6th. So that was really fantastic. Other than that, there is a continuum of care meeting that is happening on the 28th at 3 p.m. It is at the Benton Franklin Health Department building. So if you'd like to attend, that is in person only, not remote, but fantastic group. Other than that, I don't want to belabor the whole thing about fireworks. I spoke a lot last week about fireworks, but I will say that we've been getting a lot of information about the data centers as well. And I know that we would be looking at anybody providing any plans to the city, some real hard looks at it. But the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm wondering, is it something where there is ever a good way to create a data center? And I'm really concerned that there might not be a way to do that. I'm willing to accept information to prove me otherwise, but I do think maybe we should look into the data center a little bit more and maybe discuss limiting or completely eliminating the ability to put data centers here. In the end, city councils can always change things in the future, but I think for right now, with the data that we have, it might be best to discuss severely limiting or completely eliminating the ability for data centers to be in the city. And that's not just because I'm being swayed by folks saying things. That's because I've been looking at articles. I've been doing the research on my own. And it seems like a lot of these places that have been putting out proposals for them have been saying, yes, we can do them clean, we can do them clean, but they haven't proven it yet with an actual physical data center being produced yet. It's all in their plans that they've shown that they can be safe and they can be clean. So I think maybe we should look at it a little bit further. I know that staff has a lot on the plate, but this might be something that we need to look at because it is important. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Moran. I'll turn to Councilmember Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just make it really quick. I too want to thank everybody for showing up and speaking up, and keeping it civil. That's important. I know a lot of times I'm personally taking notes, so I hope nobody here thinks that we're playing with our phones or, not engaged. If we're not looking at it, it's because I'm writing your name down and I'm taking notes on the things you say. I agree. Whoever said, and I'm not minimizing any of the issues we're talking about here, but I appreciate the person who reminded us that what we're dealing with here are truly first world problems, and I like their degree of confidence that at some point we're going to figure it out, right? Also attended the Hanford Communities Town Hall with Councilman Smart, and I think the mayor was, no, yeah, I don't remember. You were.
Not for that.
Okay. It was informative as a 27-year Hanford employee. I think I was able to filter through the hype and just, listen to the facts. And yeah, it was informative to me. Last thing I would say is to encourage everybody to continue to research the data center issues. I feel like I'm getting an education. And I think the better educated we are as a community, the better decisions we'll make. If we're going to make good, hard decisions, we ought to make fully informed, good, hard decisions. And last of all, when you look at data, just remember that if you torture their data long enough, it'll confess to anything you want. So you need to make sure that we don't look at data with the assumption that, that this will validate my assumptions. We want to keep an open mind, look at the data, and come up with good conclusions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Cole. Turn to Councilmember Smart.
I'd also like to thank you all for showing up and making your comments. I counted 21 independent comments. 5 of those were repeats, but that's okay. We appreciate all that input, as has been stated by the other council members. And also, yes, I'm not playing with my phone. I'm taking notes. So please don't think I'm not paying attention to you. I just can't write and look at you at the same time always. So yeah, I'm confident we're all listening. I certainly am. I would say that there's a couple of comments I had on the discussion tonight, or the input that we got tonight. I've not heard of sludge before from data centers. Thank you for bringing up that topic. I welcome the concept of learning about data centers, right? I don't want to ban in any way a valid business if they don't impact us. But if they do, I want to mitigate that. And I want to know about these things sooner than later so that negotiations can be made. I live here too. I don't want to miss the Aurora Borealis. I don't want to be impacted negatively by electromagnetic radiation. Certainly not water contamination. I definitely don't want to hear any industry around me. If there's an industry, it better be quiet, and I better not smell it either. I've said this for the duration of my time on council, but I'm not going to carte blanche just say at this point no to an industry. If they can prove to us and that we can contract with them to satisfy all of our requirements as wanting to preserve our community, with the exception of the fact they will take up space, but so does every other development that we're going to have in this community. We have 22 square miles of space within the confines of our boundaries, and that's a lot. So I'm also interested in learning more about the changes in state law concerning taxes that we can reap from the sale or their purchase of equipment. I haven't heard of that. Thank you very much for bringing that up, whoever that was. I'd have to look in my notes. I want to know about that. I want to know about that sooner than later, because that would be one of the potential incentives of having a data center here would be, every time they buy new equipment, we get massive amount of tax dollars, which may allow you to have the parks that you'd like to have and all the rest of the accoutrements of a city that we can't currently afford. So those were good comments, and I just really encourage you to continue your research and sharing your knowledge with us. I will definitely check out the Epic Times data center article. Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. I must have missed that one. And I would like to say, as far as the survey goes, I have two more comments. One, the survey, what stood out to me were the number of comments on densification. I heard the comments on fireworks. That was definitely a spike in the comments there, but there was also a lot of comments on keeping West Richland the way it is. And I couldn't agree more. I also agree to allowing people to pursue free market economies and free market opportunities, because property rights matter to me, and that includes the property rights of the landowners that own 7,000 acres north of us. So my goal would be to help advance our economy to the point where we can have children and grandchildren that can afford to buy single family detached homes well on a quarter acre. Okay, that's going to take productivity. That's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take education and work from our community members to grow that economy. So, and keeping our economy free is one way we do that, and reducing regulations and allowing businesses to come into our community without being fettered by adverse regulations or taxes is how we get that industry and how that free market works. So I want to make that comment. And then the last, let's see, I may have lost it. Anyway, that was the concern. The concern that I saw was densification in the community. Oh, last thing. There's a very valid concern about fireworks in this community, and Mr. Ritchie is right when he said that we live in a desert. Nobody in their right mind should be launching or playing with sparklers or doing ground displays, A, in the wind, and B, anywhere near wildland desert. You've got to be kidding me. People do this every year, and it's abhorrent. That's got to stop. And there's a few places in Richland, or West Richland, sorry, that are especially vulnerable. One of them is the hill that I live on. And I'm very aware of the weird upgrowth of grasses that has happened this year. I mean, there's always cheat grass, but this year somebody has gone along and done ground dust control or something and planted some sort of variety that's like pushing 3 feet tall. And that's just a huge fire hazard. So what I'm doing personally is I am creating a fire break around my property. And it'll help, but it won't prevent, we all know if the wind's blowing, you're not going to stop a brush fire. So, but I'll do what I can. And I think that's important. Like those hazards should be mitigated, and those hazard areas should be patrolled. If somebody's, launching fire, if we happen to have the unfortunate event of a 12-mile-an-hour wind on July 4th, then those perimeters need to be patrolled. And I asked the fire chief last time he was here, could citizens help with that? And he was like, well, it takes 30 days of training every year, et cetera, et cetera. Well, in 1995, he didn't need all of that. And I think that today, I would ask people that are living near the desert, near the wildland, or near the open area, to keep a watch. I don't know what else you can do. And by the way, no reduction of number of days or number of days of sales, or even what type of fireworks you're allowed to have, unless you ban everything down to sparklers, is going to prevent that potentiality of those fields burning. As a matter of fact, I've lived up in that area for 30 years, and probably easily half of all the fires we've experienced have not been due to fireworks. They've been due to people, literally, one of them I remember was throwing out their coal bed from their barbecue. The fire didn't start until 3 days later. but some ember coal was down underneath that stuff they had dumped, and the wind picked up and blew an ember out, and we had westward fire coming toward our house from that. So yes, it's hazardous to live next to a desert. Please mitigate those hazards if you live next to them, and please watch out for the day when people are launching fireworks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Smart. I'll just close the meeting with a couple announcements. One's just to my fellow council members. The Association of Washington Cities has their annual conference in Spokane later in June. For those of you who have not yet signed up for it, I invite you to go. The invitation also extends to senior directors as well, but it's June 23rd through 25th. Great opportunity, not just to network with fellow city leaders, but also to get vital up-to-date training on matters dealing with finances, matters dealing with public meetings and so forth. So I invite you all to attend. As president of AWC, I'll be there too. So other thing, just Wednesday in West, Chamber of Commerce is starting up. Councilmember Fetto didn't mention this specifically, but I think it starts, is it tomorrow?
4:30.
4:30 tomorrow. So I invite you all to attend that. On June 17, that Wednesday in West, I will have another Meet the Mayor, kind of like my Grounds for Conversation event that I did earlier this year. But from 4:30 to 6 on Wednesday, the 17th, I will be at Wednesdays in West, and just chance to meet anyone who wants to come up, say hello to me or complain to me or whatever you'd like to do. I'll have about an hour and a half, and Director Mendenhall will be there as well. So if you have planning issues as well, he and I will help field those questions. And lastly, I will mention this. In the last day or so, the Hanford site, the vitrification plant, reached a milestone with processing 100,000 gallons of waste. That's a drop in the bucket with the 50 some odd million gallons that are out there, but it shows the process works. The process is live. It's 24/7 operation. I had the chance to go out there and tour the facility with many other elected leaders last week. And it was a great eye-opening experience just to see the control center working, see the process going from start to finish to try to clean up the legacy waste, which is sitting out there on the Hanford site. So I just wanted to pass that on to our citizens who may not have heard that. With that, I shall adjourn the meeting. It is 7:22.
We have
You have an executive session?
Oh, I'm sorry. No adjournment. We have executive session. So we will have an executive session in accordance with RCW 4230.1110D to review negotiations on the performance of a publicly bid contract when public knowledge regarding such consideration would cause the likelihood of increased costs. Thank you for reminding me. There will be no action afterward, and it is anticipated will last 15 minutes, after which council will reconvene. And then we should adjourn.
I just wanted to let everybody know online that they're extending their executive session another 15 minutes.
After the meeting adjourns, yes, we'll pick you out slowly. We have to reconvene first.
Thank you.
Everyone here? Is everyone here? All right. Good evening, everyone. I will reconvene the city council meeting. And as mentioned, we were in executive session. There was no action to follow. So therefore, I will adjourn our city council meeting at 7:53. Thank you all for attending.